Hey bosses, welcome back to my channel. I am Venus. I'm the owner and founder of BlinkWardrobe.com. If you guys are new here, welcome. You know, if you guys are OGs and you've been following me for a minute, hey girl, hey. I wanted to hop on very quickly to show y'all how to create content for your Instagram. Specifically, I have a couple of jewelry or accessory pieces that I want to reshoot for the website and also for Instagram. So you're gonna kind of get two in one. But really focusing in on Instagram. So I thought, why not bring y'all with me? You know, like why not let y'all see? Because I want y'all to not have excuses, really. You know, this is a no excuse zone. If you are going on this journey, want to be an entrepreneur, sometimes you have to do what you have to do and get scrappy. And content is one of those things where you don't have to have the fanciest equipment to get the best content. So as you guys may or may not know, if you go to Blink Wardrobe's Instagram at the Blink Wardrobe, you will see that a lot of the photos are high quality. So my husband, he takes those photos, I edit those, and we use a fancy camera, and we put a lot of work into those photos. But sometimes he's not always here, or it might just be a moment where I get into the mood and I just want to create just real scrappy content, but still high quality content. And you can totally do that without a fancy camera, fancy equipment, fancy backdrops, and all of those things. You just need creativity and honestly just the work ethic to get it done. Before we dive into how and like what you'll need in terms of equipment and things of that nature, let's talk about the purpose of getting content. Y'all know how I do. I love to give you guys like the why, because it's important. That way you know you have a little bit more oomph and kind of like incentive, I guess you can say, to do the work, and why it's so important. Whether you create scrappy content or you're creating, you know, content with a photographer and it's highly produced, it's still important to make sure that it's high quality. So the purpose of content is kind of like your currency, right? Like outside of if you're a product-based company, your inventory obviously is your currency. You know, of course, your profits and things of that nature. But you get what I'm saying when I say currency, okay? It's what you have, it's your collateral, it's what you offer to your customers so that they can see the product and eventually buy it. They can see how it functions, how it moves, the quality of it, and all of those things. That is your job as a business owner. If you are a product-based business owner, specifically, to be able to showcase through content. If you are a content or a business owner that's more into providing services, content is still important because it showcases what you offer. Bottom line, it is your job as an entrepreneur to be able to establish value, and that's where your content and quality content comes in. So whether you're doing it scrappy, whether you're doing it professional, you still want to make sure it is high value, okay? So the purpose of it, brand awareness, we got into that. I'm gonna do another video on marketing 101 for business owners. We're not gonna dive in too much there, but part of what we're doing today is part of marketing, right? It helps tee it up. The other thing is, like I said, to sell and showcase your products. Let people see what it looks like, how it moves, the quality, get close-up shots, get video, all of those things so that they can see. In the world of e-commerce, customers are not necessarily walking into your establishment and being able to pick up the garment. So it's your responsibility as the business owner to make sure that they can feel like they're touching the piece through the photos and videos, and also the captions that you create. If you're talking about Instagram, website, all of those things, it is your job to create content so that they feel like they understand the product and what they're buying before they purchase, okay? And that goes into kind of like educating your audience on your product, but also creating content, especially when it's dynamic and it's creative, is building your community. So it's a way for you to be able to communicate like your brand and what it stands for and the type of customers you want to attract. And honestly, the community that they're going to be buying into when they buy one of your products. So that's kind of the difference between, if I was to say, how do you establish yourself as a household name, or you're on a road to, and that's kind of what you want to do, opposed to kind of something that's going to, you know, not stand the test of time, is really getting people to buy into the community aspect of it. We see that with a lot of our bigger brands like Ralph Lauren, you know, throw out some of like your favorites: Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Mess in a Bottle, right? Mess in a Bottle is a great example of building a community and people supporting her products because of the community that she has, or that she's created, right, through her products. And it's just like, if you look at all her stuff, it just makes sense, right? So that's why, whether you're doing content scrappy or you're doing it kind of, bringing out all of the stops, the lights and all that jazz, it's important to create content. So that's how you set your intention, y'all. Okay, that's the why. So now let's get into the juicy part. So equipment, because this video is about basically creating scrappy content, right? I'm just going to focus on really the equipment that I use for scrappy content, because, we're going to save the other, stuff for another video. Okay. But for this, for creating content in this way, I use, like I told y'all before in the introduction, I use my iPhone. That's really it. Like, I love grabbing this thing, and hence the reason why it's almost always not charged, y'all. I almost always don't have 100% on my phone. My brother, my husband, all of them tease me because my phone always dies, and it's because this is a workhorse for me. I do everything with my phone, okay, and including taking photos. So this is part of your equipment. Use what you have, okay, you guys. You do not have to go and spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on equipment if you're not ready to make that investment yet. So you can always build your equipment as you go. So you don't have to have everything out the gate. Start with what you got. So the next thing you want to do after you secure your phone, okay, and get the lens, clean the lens, y'all, clean this off, okay, before you shoot with it, is create your mood board, or at least write something down. I'm always Googling, for inspiration, looking on Pinterest, looking on Instagram. And the key here is not to steal concepts, right? It's to be inspired by, certain things that you may see. And so you want to be able to, screenshot those images, maybe create a Pinterest board. I've done that for larger shoots that we've had. For these accessory shots that I'm about to do, I know the type of energy I wanted to have, and so I kind of like jotted down some notes, and that's it for me. But for you, especially if you're just starting out, you might want to kind of sit down and take the time to see how other companies or other people are shooting accessories or whatever you're shooting, right? And create kind of like a Pinterest board so you can visually see that. Pair that Pinterest board with, adjectives that, convey the feeling you want those photos to have, so that when you're shooting them and you're creating your backdrops and things like that, it matches it. This is all important in terms of branding. Once again, another separate video where we can dive in deeper, but this is all important with being consistent with the type of energy, aka brand, that you want your company to have, and what you want your audience / customers to be able to feel when they see your content. Okay, so you want to make sure you take the time that's needed to kind of create that. Okay, so the next thing after you kind of got your equipment together, y'all, of course your why, and then your mood, you created your mood board, you want to start building your set. So today I'm gonna take y'all where I typically do my accessory shots, and I'll also kind of plug the photos that came out of the shoot, so you can kind of see how it looks. But set your backdrop, this can be, I'm very scrappy, and y'all will see in a second what I mean by that. I'm very scrappy. I use my home. I decorate my home so that it can turn into a set very quickly, because my brand is that important to me. If you're not like that and your home looks completely different from your brand, that's okay. You can take little elements of your home and use it, whether it's a sheet. Okay, I'm talking about a bed sheet. Okay, you can use that. Okay, you'll see later what I'm talking about. Or you can buy they have, and I'll show y'all this in a minute too, but they have a little kind of lighting box that you can put your accessories in to do your shoot. You can use that, and it's totally fine. I use it sometimes too. You can use your desk. Okay, if it's aesthetically pleasing. You can also go to Home Depot, buy contact paper and you know, put it on a poster board so that you can have your backdrop, and it can be that simple. Or you can go and buy, you know, a backdrop stand with, you know, muslin backdrops or paper backdrops. It can be as elaborate or simple as you want it to be. In the spirit of this video, we are going to use what we have. So we are going to use elements in my home that I feel like matches my brand. And so that's what I'm going to use. Very simple, very quick, execute. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take y'all so you can see what I'm talking about in terms of backdrops and all of those things to be able to capture your photos. So like I told you guys, I was going to actually take you guys with me. We are still in my office, and this is kind of part of, I don't want to pan too far over there because there's a lot of junk that I have on this table right now. But this is the photo box I was talking about. It's by Savage. Savage also creates backdrops that I was talking about that you can use. But this is the box that you can put your product in. Right now I have a muslin sheet or backdrop in there that I typically use, you know, on my wall. Actually, I tack it up. But as you can see, this has lights. So lights are all back there. The backdrop that it has personally, which you can get separate colors for, is right here. So this is the backdrop. You just kind of pin it up there, and it's just a white one. Like I said, you can have different colors. This right here is kind of the thing to adjust the lights. You can make it cool, you can make it a little bit warm, and you can brighten it with this. So this box is really good, especially for web images. You can add, you know, your little backdrop back there too, like I said, for colors and things like that. It just depends on the vibe that you're going for. But this, I think, was $150. You can create your own, YouTube it. But I don't have time for that, so this is what we got, yeah. So yes, this is one option that you can use to do your accessory shots. All right, so you remember when I told you guys that the set can be whatever you make it, okay? So this is my our bedroom, and this is our bed. So I decided I had bought this kind of like fur rug from IKEA, and I love the way that it looks in photos. It adds texture, so I typically always use that, or sometimes I will use the comforter. We typically always have a white comforter on the bed. I particularly like this one because it's a little bit wrinkly. I like that aesthetic. And with this look, I kind of wanted to be a little bit more fancy and use the rug in addition to this. So as you can see, I took this Louis Vuitton box, and because it's so close to the gold that I use for blank, it just really fits with the brand. So I decided to use this as a backdrop so that it can add some contrast to the actual background. This is a Bond Number 9 fragrance right here. And I love the red in it and how feminine it is. So for Blank Wardrobe, in terms of the customer that we typically attract, she is a very powerful woman, but she's very feminine, okay? So she knows how to, you know, mix up her feminine energy with this power. And so I kind of wanted to throw this in because the fragrance itself, the brand is, to me, it just conveys like power. Is super sexy and very feminine. So I added that bottle to it, and then of course I went with Lip Bar's Boss Lady lip what is it, a liquid lipstick, and I mean, it speaks for itself, okay? It's one of my favorite reds, and I think it just kind of fits the aesthetic for the women in my brand. And then I added a little bit of NARS just for some contrast, and then of course I have our bracelets and our earrings that I wanted to reshoot in this way for Instagram. And so as y'all can see, I added elements that just make sense, okay? So let's get to shooting. All right, so basically y'all see I have my iPhone right here. We want to make sure we do the photo option. You guys know on iPhones you can adjust your aperture, your exposure and whatnot. I have natural light, and it's basically looking how I want it to look in camera. As you guys can see, this is kind of my aesthetic. If you guys go to my Instagram, you will see that on Blank Wardrobe's Instagram rather. You guys will see that this kind of moody, kind of low light, but I don't know, like it just is my favorite aesthetic. Okay, so I'm not going to adjust anything to my camera. It is set to as is, so you can kind of get the settings right here. And I don't add a flash. I hate the way that looks, and I took live mode off. And so this is what the photo would look like. So I start playing with angles, start shooting. Sometimes I like to get low like this and capture angles like that. And so I'm not going to actually take the photos just yet. I just want you guys to kind of see how I play with angles and different things of that nature to get the texture and the quality of the actual product. So I'll get that close. And you guys, look how great that looks in your iPhone. And this is an iPhone, no really special effects, y'all. So look how you can actually see the quality of the earrings. And this is before editing. This is just raw. So I'm gonna shoot. So as y'all can see, this is what it looks like in this camera. So I'm gonna start shooting and I will show y'all what I came up with. Okay, so now that you capture your photos and you got all of the things that you wanted, you did your backdrops, all of those things, the photos are ready to be posted, or so you think. People underestimate editing, y'all. So after you capture those beautiful photos, you have to edit them. I don't care how great they look out of the camera. And the reason why you want to edit is because editing adds a lot of personality to your photos. So remember, we were talking about a lot about kind of like branding and having a certain aesthetic and having a certain energy. Editing helps with all of that. So it's important for you to edit all of your photos before you put them out into the world. I personally use a combination. So I use Lightroom, I use VSCO, and I also will edit, if I'm posting into Instagram, I'm editing also on Instagram, doing slight tweaks, because if you do or do not know, Instagram will kind of degrade the quality. So when you upload it, you kind of have to kind of bring back out, or how do I want to say it? You need to bring back out what Instagram took. Okay, so because it's going to degrade it slightly, not a lot, but if you have, when you start editing and you start having an eye for what you want your aesthetic to be, you'll see what I'm talking about. So you want to go back in using their editor and adding those elements that were potentially lost when you upload it into Instagram. Basically what I'm saying is, once again, use what you're comfortable with, use what you what's going to bring the aesthetic that you're trying to achieve for your brand. So you don't have to necessarily use what I use. Okay, you can, if you find another editor that is better for you, it does the job, then awesome. The point is to make sure you edit. So whatever you use, edit. It is a crucial step. And a lot of people, it's funny, quick story time. People will ask us like, well, like, how do you get the photos to look that way? Oh my God, they're so great. Now, don't get it twisted. Taking the photo right in camera is very important as well. But the key to getting it to look kind of like different from other folks and to have that kind of pop is in editing. So make sure once you take those beautiful photos that you edit. So I hope you guys found this video to be helpful. If you have questions, as always, leave them in the comments. I know your girl has been a little bit struggling with responding to your comments, but I definitely appreciate them. I see them, and eventually I do get to them. It is a goal of mine to make sure I am better at that for y'all, because if y'all took the time out to at least watch my videos and things like that, the least I can do, especially if I'm asking you to do it, is respond to them, okay? So I am working on that, so feel free to do that. You guys go out, take this advice, get some bomb photos. If you actually followed some of this advice and got some photos, be sure to talk about it in the comments and we can check you out, okay? Leave that link so that we can see what you got and support you. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share with a friend. We're a community here. Somebody else in your circle might find this valuable, so be sure to share with them. And without further ado, I'm gonna let y'all go, get to creating those beautiful photos, and I will holler at y'all in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.